Let's see. So, welcome everyone. We're about to get started with today's session for Sold to Rent and the 2026 Financial Fresh Start. I'm joined by Leo today. Leo is our Seller Advisor Manager. He will be giving you all the details for our program and how Sold to Rent works. So, thank you, Leo, for joining us today and for sharing your knowledge with everyone here. I'm giving everyone just a few seconds to join the room and then we'll start with the presentation. There's a chat room where you can pop up all your questions while the presentation runs, and then we will be running a Q&A as well. So everyone, if you have a question at the end, we will do a live Q&A with Leo, but feel free to write any question on the chat or the Q&A, and we will be answering. Leo, if you have anything to say prior we start, feel free to welcome everyone.
Emmy, I appreciate the intro. Thank you so much. I think just welcome everyone. I hope you enjoy. I hope you find it informative. If you have questions, I'm here for you. Hopefully, we can work together and build a plan and help you kind of guide some of your decision making here. So, if you guys need anything, we're here for you.
Yeah. So I'm seeing a lot of names popping in from our registration forms. Um, let's see if we're ready to jump into the presentations. Just checking in, and if anyone can pop into the chat or the Q&A and let us know if you can hear everything. If anyone can pop just a quick emoji or an okay for just audio and making sure that you can hear everything, and then we will start with the presentation. If at any point you feel like you need a pause or just something, just let us know in the chat and we will make sure that we can answer your questions as promptly as possible. So I'll go ahead, you can hear everything, and we'll start right now.
Hey guys, good afternoon. How you doing? This is Leo from Sell to Rent. So good to see you guys. So great to see that you're able to join. We're going to talk about the 2026 Financial Fresh Start. How can we unlock your guys' equity? How can we help you guys move forward? We're just going to give everyone a couple of seconds. I see a couple of you guys trickling in already, so we're just going to get a couple of seconds here to warm up and to let everyone join. Once again, I'm so happy to be part of your journey. We're going to go ahead and dive in. All right, guys. So who am I? My name is Leonardo Marin. You guys can call me Leo, or my friends do. I'm part of the Seller Advisor team. We basically are part of the team that talks to you guys directly, helps you guys figure out your home value, tells you a little bit about the process, gives you clear expectations, and helps to basically change the 2026 financial narrative. So once again, I'm so happy to see you guys here tagging along for the journey. Let's continue and kind of break things in and tell you a little bit more about the process and what we do. All right, guys. So I do believe that the first step for us to take is to take a look at the current situation. We want to take a look at that financial hangover. We want to look at it, eyes wide open, and be able to realize that we have the same goal as you. Our goal is for you to eliminate debt, not just manage it. I don't want you borrowing from Paul to pay Peter, and I want you to take a look at your home for what it is, the asset that it is. We're going to help you guys turn that asset into a way out, into an ability to move forward. So I think you may find yourself in the same situations as millions of Americans where you guys are house rich but cash poor. I think you guys have seen the panorama out here with the banks. Interest rates have shifted. They're making moving out or refinancing extremely burdensome, extremely expensive. If you go and get a HELOC or a line of credit, that's going to overburden an already tight budget. Basically, the equity is trapped unless you move. Until now. I want us together to explore another option. All right, guys. So first and foremost, I want to make sure that we are using the same dictionary when we talk about a sell leaseback. What is it? I mean, in a nutshell, you get to sell your house, you get to cash out, you stay as a renter. It's that easy. And of course, we'll dive deeper into what it takes and what it is a little bit down the road. I just want to mention 3 easy steps so you get an idea. First step is you sell your house, you cash out. Step two is you actually stay put. You sign a lease agreement, whether it's a month or 3 years, so that you can stay in your home. And then step three, I think this is the most important one, you get to live debt free. Whether that's putting money away for retirement, whether that's helping your kids through college, whether that's just funding your next trip, my team of professionals will help you unlock that dream. So why sell to rent? I mean, I've imagined you've looked at the options. I do want us together to kind of take a look at what the current options are. And of course, I want to place emphasis on this new option that we have for you. So the first option is a traditional sell. And we'll go through it ourselves here and together. A lump sum of cash, absolutely. You get 100% of the market value, but there is a considerable amount of effort and work that you have to put in before you get that. Do you get to stay in your home? Absolutely not, right? After the sale of the home, you're expected to vacate immediately, basically. Monthly debt, it depends, right? What have you done? Are you moving on to a new place? Are you building a new home? Are you renting? Are you going into an Airbnb? So the monthly debt does depend on what steps you're taking after you sell the home. The home repairs, I think this is a big one. Of course, you do have to get this thing market ready. So you have to fix the roof, you have to plug the leaks, you have to get the flooring, the wall, the painting, everything done. So I think there is a considerable amount of initial investment on your end to get it market ready so that you could put it on the MLS, go through a realtor, what have you. So overall, is it easy to access this option? I actually really think this is a high effort option. As I mentioned, that initial considerable investment on your side of both time and money to get it market ready, that is a considerable amount of money and time. Do you have that money? Do you have that time? Let's take a look at option number two. So a HELOC or bank loan or a line of credit. Do you get a lump sum cash? Not really. It's a partial or capped amount that you get on that. Do you get to stay in your home? Yes, but high interest rates, right? So you're adding a monthly payment with a higher interest rate to an already tight budget. I think we went over this in a previous slide. With monthly debt, 100%. You're getting higher payments because of a higher interest rate. So that is something for you guys to consider. Home repairs, yeah, this is your responsibility. Once again, you get to stay in your home. You are still responsible for repairs. You're still having to upkeep the home. Ease of access, I would say moderate, right? I mean, it's pretty simple to get one of those loans. Depends on your credit score, depends on a few parameters, but overall, I think it's pretty moderate for you guys to access it. But I mean, who wouldn't want to give you a loan that's taking a lot more money from you and it's giving you guys a higher interest rate? Now, with our option, the sell to rent or lease back option, do you get a lump sum cash? Absolutely. I mean, a lot of my investors are usually giving you guys about 85% of the home's value, but keep this in mind, you're selling as is. So you're not having to put in that considerable amount of money and time into selling your home. You don't have to get it market ready. We're buying as is. Do you get to stay in your home? Right? You get to stay in your routines, you get to stay in the same neighborhood, you get to stay in the home that you've come to know and love. Monthly debt, the rent replaces the mortgage, right? It's usually market rent. We're going to work with you in that regard. So, we get that taken care of. Home repairs, oh, that's out of sight and out of mind. Now, this goes over to the investor who now is your landlord. He will be taking care of repairs. Ease of access, extremely streamlined, easy. You talk to one of my guys who will help you through this process. It is a very fast option in comparison to a traditional sell. Nationwide, you're looking at 120 days on the market. With us, I'm usually able to close within 30 days. Really, I've had homes close within 9 business days. So I can really make this happen quickly for you guys. Thank you so much for hanging in there. You've come this far. I now want to give you guys the checklist. What do you have to have or be in order to actually qualify for this program? So very simple. Do you have at least 30% of equity in your home? If you have a little bit less, we can always talk about it case by case, no worries. Is your house less than an acre? Because of insurance, because of a few other parameters, I'm actually not able to work with anything that's over an acre. So this is an important point for you guys to keep in mind. Are you tired of being in debt? Once again, are you tired of this hamster wheel of perpetual debt where you're just managing your debt and it feels never ending? This is a great point for you to keep in mind. Now, are you in foreclosure? Look, provided that I have at least 30 days to work on this, we can help you save your credit. We can help you stay in your home. We can help you sell the house. Actually, just last week, a great client of mine, Kirk, he was in the same situation. I mean, getting letters weekly about an auction date, getting weekly letters about putting, pressure on him to do something about it. He didn't see a way out. We actually helped him sell his house, stay in the home, save his credit, and move on with his life. So this is something that hundreds, thousands of people are going through on a monthly basis. So do not feel alone if you are part of that group that's going through a foreclosure. We can help. We can make sure the banks don't win. Now, lastly, do you actually love your home? Do you want to stay in it? Do you feel that it's not the right time to move the kids from the school, to uproot your family, to change your routines? If you don't feel like that's the case and you want to stay in the home, we for sure can help you do that. Now, conversely, if you are actually looking to move, we can also help you out with that. We can just do a straight sell and move out scenario. So we can help you with both scenarios. All right, guys, as promised, we're going to dive a little bit deeper as to how this works. All right, so the steps are easy. First, I'll get you on a call with one of my advisors. We go through the scenarios. We collect some of the information. How much do you own the home? What's the ideal scenario for you guys? Then evaluate the home's value. We take a look at the area, what has sold in your area for the past, say, 12 to 16 months, and we do an evaluation and market analysis on your property. Next step is we actually send you a proposal, right? Based on my investors' put on the market analysis that we do, we send you a proposal for the property. You sign an agreement, right? If you're happy with the number, you agree with it, you sign an actual agreement, and then we assign the investor that's going to purchase the property, and then we close. And we close as we get you guys paid out. You get your check, you get to unlock your dreams, you get to move on. And last but not least, it wouldn't be sell to rent if you didn't actually get to stay in the home. You get to keep the keys to your home. You get to stay in the house that you have come to know and love. In conclusion, guys, thank you so much for hanging in there. Let's wrap this up and, for a lack of a better term, let's bring it home. All right, folks. So this is the time where we bring it all together and we connect the dots. And I want to make sure we synchronize our goals. We want to look at the overarching goals here. We want to make sure that you realize, and we know this, it's not all about the money. It's about peace of mind. It's about knowing that you're no longer going to have to worry about the debt collector knocking on your door. You're no longer going to have to worry about the repairs because now the landlord is going to take care of that, right? What I want you to do, what I'm inviting you to do in this case is to hand me your stress and I'm going to provide you a solution, right? My whole team of professionals from the seller advisor team, we're going to help you through the intricacies of selling your home, to my investor team, to the property professionals. We are here to make this very complex issue of selling your home simple. You're just a phone call away from a new life. All right, guys, it was such a privilege to be here with you, to be able to provide information and a possible solution. My team is very much looking forward to hearing from you and to help you carve out a new path to a better future. Don't forget to visit us on our website, call me at my direct line, or scan this QR code for special webinar offer. Once again, thank you so much. You have a lovely day, and I look forward to hearing from you.
So thank you so much, Leo, for that. That was an incredible breakdown from what we do here at Sold to Rent. We do have a few questions from our attendees here, so I would love to jump into that and create a few, do a little conversation on it so we can answer those questions for our attendees, and you can give us a little bit of insight into what our process looked like. So I'm gonna project some of our questions here and you can help us out. Here we have Jake, who says, just to confirm, if I got over 30% equity, I can sell the house as is. So can you help us here and give us a little bit of insight, please?
Absolutely. So the short answer to that is 100% you can sell the house as is. And that 30% is usually used as a rule of thumb. If you have a little bit less, of course, if you have more, absolutely. So the short answer to that is yes, you can sell your house as is. That's what we actually specialize in.
Great. So Jake, if you are around there, if you have anything else, let us know. I do see here that you also want to know what the typical timeline of selling with our company is. So Leo, can you tell us how our timeline looks like?
So I can for sure give you a general kind of standard time, but that will depend, just to get to your case specifically, it depends on your area, right? It's different if you live in a really big city, let's say Dallas Fort Worth area, or if you're outside in a more rural area, it may be a little bit more difficult to get traction. So it really depends on where you're located. But let me just give you the standard kind of medium time frame that we usually close in, which is usually about 8 weeks. That's everything from point A to point Z. That's us dealing with all the complexities of lenders, of inspections, of buyers, everything. All right, so that's a really short period of time. But once again, I must throw that disclaimer in there that it really depends on your specific location. We can for sure, Jake, talk to you later on today if you want about your specific case in your home, and we can help you out with that.
Great. So, again, just to keep on going, because he does have a few more questions, is what are the fees and how does that work?
So the fees associated with our program are usually 6%. It also does depend on the level of equity, the actual property value. If it's a really, really expensive property that we're closing on, depends on the state as well. We may be able to be a little bit more flexible. Keep in mind that we're doing everything not just on finding and executing the buyer, but we're also doing the lease back side of things. So we are doing way more than, let's say, your conventional realtor. So fees are variable. They can change, but usually, and again, I'm just kind of painting with a broad brush. Usually we're looking at a 6% fee structure.
Great. We have a question from, let me see, Natasha Greeny. I'm gonna project it here on our screen. It says, if facing the need to sell your home, your credit score has already been significantly impacted, do you all focus on your credit score for approvals?
So my guys, it depends also on your rent back or lease back terms, right? If you're looking to stay a couple of years, let's say 3 years, a lot of my investors will look at that a little bit closely or closer rather than it was a short period of time. So it depends. My guys most of the time do, but we get a leg up usually, which is you're selling the home to that investor who's renting it back to you. That's already kind of an icebreaker. That's already a relationship built. So it's usually not a standard tenant screening process. You're kind of a shoe in already, even though this also depends on the lease back terms. If you're staying for a longer period of time, usually my investors will ask for a little bit more prepaid rent, and they will do a screening, a tenant screening form. So the answer is yes, they usually do look at it, but also keep in mind that you're already kind of a shoe in because you're selling the property to the investor that's renting it back to you.
Awesome. We do have another question. It says, can I buy it back later on?
That is a resounding no. Mind you, through our program. I mean, let me kind of qualify that answer. Through our program, within our, let's say, wheelhouse, we're not able to do anything in regards to the buyback option. Now, I will say I do have another company that we work with closely that may offer that solution, and in some cases, some of my original sellers have been able to strike up some sort of deal with the investor. Mind you, again, I have to throw the disclaimer out that we do not offer that within our system, within our structure, within our ecosystem. That is a resounding no.
Okay. Another question says, so the investor comes to my house. I don't want people know that I'm selling.
That's a fantastic point. So in comparison to a world where, staging your home and open houses is the norm to sell a house, we are really, really discreet. We will have an inspection done of the property. That has to be done. I have to check the foundation, the roof, the electrical, the plumbing. It is very discreet. I just have a person that comes through, does an inspection. I may also have a few other walkthroughs. The buyer may do a walkthrough, and again, this is usually just one person, really discreetly. We don't have signs on the yard, nothing like that. We're doing walkthroughs. Sometimes my lender may do an appraisal of the property. Sometimes I have an insurance do a walkthrough as well. So we will have some walkthroughs. Again, let me give you kind of standard walkthrough number. We're looking at 3, usually no more than 5. Usually a single person coming to the house, doing a quick walkthrough and getting out. Again, discreetly. So I think discretion is really important for my sellers, for ourselves as well. So it's definitely something that we kind of go the extra mile on.
Great. Natasha here says, if I sell and stay, is the renter now subject to lock boxes on the door or visitations by the lender?
So usually we'll draw up specific contracts between, the investor and the seller. That's usually not the case with the lock boxes. Usually not the case with the inspections or, the investor dropping by. It's usually a really clear line of communication when certain minor repairs need to be done, things along those lines. So it is a really kind of open line of communication between the two, and we of course facilitate that process of getting everything you want and need on the contract.
Great. Let me look. I do have a couple more questions here. Here's a question that says, how long can I stay as a renter?
How long can you stay as a, that's also a great question. It depends as well. It depends on usually property value. So if your house is worth, and could be north of $1.52 million, sometimes the carrying cost for those properties is really high. And my investors who are very niche investors who kind of invest in those properties usually want a shorter lease time. For properties in, let's say, 230, 250 to 400, we've done lease back terms for up to 3 years. So it could be anywhere from, let's say, 3 months to 3 years. Mind you, again, I'm painting with a broad brush here. We could maybe have it a little bit more, just depends on your needs and wants, and also depends on the investor. So that's why it's so important for us to know your situation so that we can match you with the perfect investor that takes your situation into account.
We have a question here from Sarah that says, if I sell my home to an investor, what stops them from raising my rent to a price I can afford next year?
So the contract, right? So that's why we have everything in written form. So let's say you and your situation and your plan is that you want to stay for 3 years. We're going to lock that rent in for that period of time. Now, if that 3-year period, and mind you, I'm just using this for argument's sake, right? Whether it's 2 or 3 years. If that 3-year lease period is up and you still want to remain in the home, now at that point, we have a grace period of renegotiation where most definitely that rent will go up. But it will not go up during the time frame that we have stipulated in the contract. Again, that's why we facilitate it. That's why we have it in written form. That's why I have a legal team backing you up, backing us up to make sure that everything we say and everything that we come to terms on is in written form and in an actual contract. So we safeguard you, safeguard ourselves, safeguard the investor.
And picking on this one, it's the investor can kick me out.
Certainly not. And again, I think this will piggyback off of the last question, but it's certainly not the case. They will definitely not kick you out. Besides, states have their laws in regards to being able to expel someone from the property. You will have a contract in place. I'm sorry, Emmy, what was that?
I think you caught a little bit right there. You might be on my side, but I think you caught up just a little bit on that last question.
Let me take it from the top. How's that, Emmy? Am I coming through clearly?
Yep,
All right.
you're coming back right.
All right. So let me again just take it from the top to piggyback off of that last question, which they're related, right? We have a contract in place that's going to safeguard your integrity as a renter. You have something that's legally binding that's going to make sure you guys are not kicked out. during that time frame that we have stipulated in the contract. If we have terms for a year, you guys will not be kicked out for that year. Mind you, let me throw that disclaimer out there. It does have to be said, unless you guys are breaching the contract by way of doing something that's harming the structure of the property, or fires, what have you. If you are doing something that is actually against the code of law, whether it's in that state or within the contract, then we may have, or the investor may have, grounds to expel you. Now, this is an extreme case. We have yet to see it happen, but it's out there. So it does have to be said within the realms of normal behavior and normal things. You will not be kicked out for any reason other than not actually paying the rent. Right. So if you default on your rent for a couple of months, now the law comes in and says, I do have a right to request you leave the premises of the property because you have not been keeping up your end of the bargain. So of course that also has to be said.
Great. And then how about pets? How do we go around pets, since we know they're part of the family?
There certainly are. I got 2 cats, 2 dogs, 2 parrots. For me, pets are indispensable part of the family. We are pet friendly. I think every single one of us here at Sell to Rent has a pet. So it is very important for us that our furry friends are also accepted in our homes, right? They're part of the family. We know that. So within the contract, within the agreements, we also have that stipulated. Your furry friends are welcome. They are part of the family. It certainly will be more than acceptable for you to have them. Again, I have to throw this out that I'm from the great state of Texas. I have neighbors that have tigers and lions. So that also has to be stipulated. You have to tell me what you have, right? If you tell me I have a small poodle, but then it turns out you have a Bengal tiger, that may be a point of contention. So I do need, from the get-go, from Jump Street, I need you to tell me, hey, Leo, I have this dog, I have an anaconda, I have this. We have to have a clear line of communication. Again, transparency and honesty is going to be the bridge so that we have a good, long-standing relationship.
Great. Not seeing anything else on the chat right now. So I'm going to give you, Leo, the floor to invite anyone here attending today. They can scan our QR code, but if they want to reach out to you and your team with any further questions, please let them know how to reach out.
I think that's the important part, right? So it's great to get the knowledge. It's amazing to know, to get the intellectual information in, but it is really truly important for us to take the step to make the move, to make the call, to hit the button, right? You are sitting where you still have some level of agency and where you have the power of decision in your hands. You can change things now. If you're in a tight situation, if you're in a place where you feel overwhelmed, we have the solution. As I mentioned, hand me your stress, I will hand you a solution. So I think it is important now to empower you to call us. You have my direct number right there. You have the QR code that has a special offer. Please hit that. You have the Sell to Rent website. We are here for you. Use this. Don't let this information come in one ear, out the other. This is something that's actionable. This is something for you to act on. It is in our moments of decision that we actually forge our destiny. So if you're in a tight situation, if you're in a spot where you feel this is a good program for you, let me and let my team help you. So I encourage you, I invite you, I compel you to please pick up the phone, send us a text, scan the QR code. We have tons of ways for you to get a hold of us, and everyone's more than happy and honored to be able to help you in this process.
So yeah, to everyone here, the link and the QR code are right there. You're gonna get as well an email with a code and a link to get your 15-minute evaluation with Leo or his team. There is a 15-minute call at no cost. So thank you for joining us today. And with no further questions, we're gonna end the webinar right here. Thank you, Leo, for sharing with us today. And we hope to see you at some point in the future conversations we might have. Thank
An
you, everyone,
absolute
for
pleasure.
joining.
Thank you guys. God bless. Take care.